My nose and voice is a little weird. I got a little cold. Evan had a cold. Maybe I don't know, last weekend or the beginning of the week or something, and then I got it. So it's not too bad, just a little sneezy and a little congested. So apparently me stocking up on all of my supplements was not enough. I mean, it's not bad, but I still got something, but I haven't been sick in quite a while. So it's all good. So I do see that we have a couple people here on the live. So welcome. My name is Meleah with Inner Perfect, and I do these live energy updates every Wednesday at 7 o'clock. So I appreciate you being here with me tonight. And in previous energy updates, I've done lots of different formats, everything from being very astrology heavy, covering different transits, retrogrades, things like that, to sometimes kind of more of a free flow update, kind of just tapping into this collective energy that we're all part of and kind of getting not only feedback from the people who are participating in the live, but then also just kind of what I'm seeing out in the world and in my own personal life as well. And we oftentimes see similar themes that we are all going through, which of course we can liken that to some of the astrological, influences that are affecting us all. But then also just knowing that we're all growing and changing together. And we see that mirrored in many different ways in our lives too. So not to say that what you're individually going through in your own life isn't unique and special in its own way, but it is also kind of nice to have like that confirmation that what you're going through, other people are perhaps going through in their own lives as well. And we can kind of like support each other. So anyway, I don't have I guess a whole lot rigidly planned for tonight's energy update. Like I said, I'm not feeling awesome. Kind of just rested as much as I could today. And I'm feeling like now that I'm talking a lot, like I'm feeling like my lung capacity is not 100%. So anyway, hopefully I don't have like a big sneeze while I'm doing this. But of course, if anyone's watching this that happens to be in like the southeastern United States in Tennessee, here in Knoxville, we got a good bit of snow, which I was excited about because I don't know, it's just kind of fun, like I'm not a big fan of cold weather, but if it can be beautiful and snowy outside, at least the mud is covered up with snow. And so I was kind of eagerly anticipating the snow. And Evan, my 8-year-old, and I spent like the first 2 days of the snow getting out in it, playing, sledding, all of the things. We kind of go out for a while and then come back in and get warmed up, get our clothes kind of like dried a little bit, and then go back out. Today we didn't really go outside much at all, except to just like let the dogs out and stuff. It was really cold today. Not saying that the novelty has worn off per se, but it was just definitely really, really cold today, and it's supposed to be pretty cold again tonight. So anyway, that's to say that I have been home all week, which I am totally cool being a homebody. I have store cats, as some of you may know, and I made sure to leave them extra food and water. Same with our little button quail that we have there. Because, I figured I probably would get snowed in if the snow actually came, and it did come. And so aside from like being outside to play with Evan or let the dogs out or bring in firewood, I haven't gotten in my car and left. My road is completely covered still. None of the side roads are very passable. I mean, I do have a Subaru, but I really haven't driven it in the snow much, and it is my only vehicle. And I'm just like, if I don't have to go somewhere, I think I'm just gonna, take it easy until the roads are a little better. So, of course, as you may know, I don't know, like Let's see, when did it snow? Monday night, I think. I think it was Monday night. I don't know. I've just been in my house all week. But like I went to the grocery store and just got a few things. I mean, I had plenty of most of my staples and stuff already here. And just kind of decided, okay, well, I'm just going to be at home and, I'm just going to be being just being at home, not really having much of an agenda. I've made a bunch of bread, I've made cookies, I've made soup, all the things that we do when we're at home. Um, and then with getting a little cold, and which I think was kind of like last night, was like, oh man, I think I'm coming down with something. And then just taking it like super easy today. Um, I still personally kind of like had this internal monologue like, well, I'm at home. I need to be doing laundry. I need to, I should be doing all of these things to make use of my time at home. But I just really didn't feel like it today. So I kind of am a baby, I think, when I get sick because I don't hardly ever get sick. And so when I do, it's like I'm not used to it. So, I'm not saying it hits me harder. I'm just saying I'm not used to not feeling well. So, um, hey there, Ashley. Yes, thank you. I am doing well too. And yes, the snow is nuts. That's good. We were just talking about the snow. So for those of you who are watching, you can message me in the comments. You can ask questions and things like that. And I will, as I see those, I will try to address those too. So thanks for saying hey, Ashley. So what was I saying? Oh yeah. So feeling like I needed to be doing something like productive, I guess, is something that I've struggled with a lot. And I don't know how you all are with that. I have gotten better about it over the last few years of honoring my need to rest or decompress, or that napping or resting is productive in its own way, or it is much needed to like recharge my batteries. um but I'm still kind of unraveling that conditioning or learned um kind of like internal monologue that I should be doing something, that I'm being lazy in a bad way if I'm just not getting things done. So I was been watching some like YouTube tarot readers. They're very interesting, very entertaining. I had a lot of customers asking me if I had watched them. I was like, no. So I started, found a couple that I like that I listened to. And one of the readers was talking about how, um, we would be needing to have some rest and recuperation. And this was a couple days ago. I was like, well, I feel fine. And, I'm at home and I can get all this stuff done. And then when I got sick, and I was like, oh, they knew it. They saw it in the cards, right? But I don't know if you have heard of or looked into the emotional causes of illness or pain in the body, disease, things like that. I think it was Louise Hay wrote a book about the emotional causes of illness. There are lists that you can find online. And yes, I understand that you can get a cold virus or a flu or whatever, or you can have like a genetic predisposition to some kind of disease or something too. I get all of that, right? Like the science or the practical causes. But I do always like to look at the emotional causes or roots of imbalance in the body, just as just kind of more of a holistic view of that. And I looked up the emotional cause of a cold, and there was mention of feeling overworked or stressed, needing to take a break, all of those things, which of course we know that if we've kind of overdone it, or if we are stressed, then our body, our cortisol levels go up and our body is putting out certain like, other stress hormones and things to deal with that busyness or to deal with that stress instead of supporting our immune system, right? Or they kind of have to tag team. So it would make sense that, if there were certain stressors in your life or in my life, and then I was exposed to a cold virus by my kid who did have a bit of a cold several days ago, that I would be more susceptible to that, right? And last week, the shop was open, which is fine. It's great. I mean, it's interacting with a lot of people and all of that. And then I had something personal that I had to take up. I had to go to court over an issue that has been going on for like more than a half a year that finally, hopefully, got resolved. And then I had like a big fallout with a family member too. And like that all was like bam, bam, bam. So, although I weathered that storm, I know that I was under a lot more stress and strain than I normally am. Um, and with running the shop and just kind of being married to that schedule and kind of quicker pace and all of that, I couldn't just be like, oh, I just went through these personal things and I'm just going to hide away from the world for a while. I kind of had to just push through, right? So, yeah, so I've got a cold and it is what it is. And I'm drinking tea and taking my supplements, my vitamin C, my vitamin D, my chaga mushroom, and several different blends like tinctures and all of those things. And I'm sure I'll be as good as new here sooner than later. But I can hear my voice is a little off, so I apologize. So we've talked about Pluto and Pluto moving into Aquarius. We've talked about this the last couple energy updates that I've done. And that happens around the 20th to the 21st of this month. So it's coming up. So it's next week. And Pluto shifting into Aquarius is kind of a big deal because it's once Pluto shifts into Aquarius, it will be in Aquarius for about 2 decades. And so it's not like a Mercury retrograde, for example, or the moon, shifting signs, which happens like every day or two. It's what it happens and then it stays there because Pluto is, an outer planet. It moves very slow. So it really takes a long time to move through the signs. And when we've talked about Pluto, which is presently in Capricorn, when we talked about this moving into Aquarius, Capricorn and Aquarius are the energies are very, very different. And we will have kind of over the year up until November. I'm pretty sure it's November. I have these notes over here. I can get an exact date for you actually. But in November, it will finally be in Aquarius and stay in Aquarius. Oh, and I don't have it written down. Oh, yeah, November 19th. I knew I'd written it down. But it will kind of go back and forth between Aquarius and Capricorn. There will be a little bit of a retrograde motion as it's kind of like getting settled in into Aquarius. And that will happen on and off between now and November. But by November 19th, it will finally be settled in Aquarius and it will be there for until 2043. So 20 years, right? Yeah, 2 decades. So Aquarius is such an innovative, fresh, forward-thinking, advanced energy. Aquarius is the water bearer, but it is an air sign, just like Libra and Gemini. And air signs are very thought-focused, mentally focused. And Aquarius heralds, there's the song, The Age of Aquarius. which that's not specifically what we're talking about. We're talking about Pluto being in Aquarius. But Aquarius in general is the innovator. And so looking forward to the next 2 decades, we can see so many advancements in technology, in the medical field, sciences, just any kind of innovation and things too that will hopefully affect the entire planet in a connecting, uplifting way, because Aquarius is also moving away from the individual and it is talking about the collective, the group. What is um what benefits the whole. And I am all about community, and I'm all about being a team player and the greater good and all of those things. I think that us being connected and community really being held safely and safely holding the people that are dear to you is very important. But I also do know that it doesn't mean that all of a sudden we shift the focus from our own work, our own healing, to just like everything outside of us. We still have to keep doing the work because we are part of the whole and we are all contributing to the collective. But hopefully, with this shift of energy, we will be able to be more focused on, instead of coming from like a wounded, selfish place, hopefully we will be able to contribute as that growing, healing individual, but with the concern for everyone involved. It will be a more kind of like humanitarian vibe that we will all be caught up in and swept up in. And so with Aquarius being in Pluto, Pluto is the game changer, the shaking the bedrock of the foundation, transformation, and exposing anything underneath the surface that needs to be exposed. And so that's why this shift of Aquarius moving from Capricorn Pluto moving from Capricorn to Aquarius, why it really is such an impactful change for us is because, and I believe that I spoke on this during last week or the weeks before energy update, is that there is this exposing of old systems, old paradigms, old patterns that don't work in a cohesive way, that don't work in a healing, helpful, innovative way. These old patterns were designed to benefit a very, very select few people and kind of just like held everyone else down just to be a cog in the wheel, and not for the greater good, just for the good of a few who probably are not even happy anyway. So there will be, it's unavoidable, there will be radical change. And I saw there's this guy that I follow on Instagram. It's Color We Crazy is his Instagram like handle, and he's great. And he was talking about Pluto and Aquarius and Pluto, and he said something like there's no evolution without revolution, and I liked that a lot. That really makes sense to me. That spoke to me. And there is going to be a lot of change and a lot of evolution and a lot of growing pains as not only we just kind of adjust and shift in this new energy, but just as the things kind of come up that need to be exposed and that need to be released and cleared and like grieved or mourned or let go of, that's not always fun. Sometimes it just feels really good to clear out the cobwebs and the skeletons in the closet and all of that stuff, right? I mean, it's like revitalizing to do that, right? You're making room for that fresh energy to come in, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't also kind of trigger us and bring up all those other, fears or memories or maybe things that we don't think that we're ready to let go of, or people connected to us in one way or the other say that, we shouldn't want to change, or, whatever it is. So, growing pains for sure. And we'll all be experiencing that in different ways. And I know, like, for myself personally, um that like one thing I really intended and wanted to bring in, I mean always, but that specifically for this year, I wanted to again really remind myself becoming in alignment with my highest good, my best possible timeline, life experience, and really being open to receive that, not just saying, oh, that'd be nice, but then I have all this, emotional baggage or stuff in the way. So when I was setting that intention and I did a vision board and, just been doing all this personal work, I guess. Um, I knew that that would it's like I can't just continue living my life exactly as it is, that there would be changes and shifts that would come in, and I may actively pursue those things, or I may just through connection by default also experience those things. And so, um, I've seen, like with last week with the personal things that I went through, very much the themes of boundaries definitely are coming up. And I've been really working on personal boundaries over the last several years. Uh, I have always personally been aware of what boundaries are. I was not raised to feel empowered in those boundaries. I was not given the tools to hold my head high with my own boundaries of what felt safe and what was best for me. There was always a sense of heavy obligation and guilt associated with even owning boundaries or identifying boundaries. So, um, I've been working on that personally for the last several years, but it's all kind of come full circle again. And it's not fun, but it's fine, too, because I don't want those things, any negative patterns, conditioning, family karma, like whatever. And my participation in those things, I don't want to be held back. I don't want to choose to continue going on that hamster wheel instead of living my best life. And yes, first and foremost for myself, but then also for my children, my grandchildren. I have two grandchildren, and so it's like the future generations that aren't even here yet. I want to do that work myself to, yes, give myself the opportunity to experience a life feeling strong and protected and safe and, empowered and all of those things, but also happy and joyful. And when you as an individual, heal things within yourself, when you empower yourself, when you um, align with different energies than perhaps you were in when you were born, or through certain other situations that you chose or didn't choose, right? There's lots of scenarios. Um, but when you change your and your vibration, anyone who shares your DNA feels that ripple effect. Anyone that you are in close relationships with, People that you share space with in like an office or whatever, like people feel that. They feel that change. But it's always important to continue to do the work for yourself, because really we can only change ourselves, and that it is our energy being changed that also influences or affects things around us. People, situations, in regards to manifesting, magnetism, all of those things. Um, but sometimes people have a very hard time prioritizing their self or doing something for, their own good. and but they can do it for their kids, or they can do it for their spouse or their loved ones. So if that's what you need to focus on to get you over that hump, being able to embrace change, that's kind of a temporary fix to get the momentum started. The real point though is to do it for yourself, because you came here to live your life, to have your experiences yourself. You're not experiencing anybody else's life. I mean, we can observe other people's lives, or we can observe all kinds of things, but it's really about our own experience and our own lens and vantage point. Because I mean, we're experiencing it, we're getting whatever like experience that we're getting. Like when we vicariously experience something outside of us, yes, that's our experience of that. But it's not actually living someone else's life. It's not really having someone else's experience, because they're having their own experience. And we are separate in that viewpoint. But the cool thing is too, and kind of speaking to the Aquarius energy, is that we are all connected though. We are all the universe experiencing a self. We are all part of this collective consciousness. So the work that you do for yourself does help, right? It does affect everyone else by the means in which I mentioned, a little bit ago. But just because we're like the universe, and so our experience, our healing, our challenges, our growth, all of that, is kind of inputting that information, that data, those emotions, all of that experience into the universe too. So it's really kind of a win-win, I guess, however you look at it. But when we're able to really, I think, almost like relax into and gift to ourselves, that we are deserving of a good life, of joy, of love, of happiness, or adventure, freedom, whatever experiences we are choosing, whatever experiences we came here to have, and we do it for ourselves, then there's very much that embracing, accepting energy about it, because we know that we're not being selfish to be focused on self. We're not. That's really all we have. And I don't mean that in like a negative way, or in some kind of fatalistic way or anything like that. But like this little slice of universe that has come into the human form as individuals, came here to experience life through our vehicle, our vessel, our lens. And that is the most important thing. So, I hope that well, yeah, I hope it makes sense. Hope that I've articulated that clearly. Um, and one thing I will say about um family patterns and like karma, even to like speak like um which might seem kind of far-fetched for some people, like I have had clients and customers come in and ask me about like family curses or generational, curses, or things like that. And I believe that any of that is possible, for sure. And like on a more magical or kind of esoteric way, okay? And there, I guess, like, is a myriad of ways that someone could be cursed and then pass that down to their subsequent generations. But then looking at the more mundane or practical side of that, but still kind of more on the whether it's psychological or mental or emotional, way, not necessarily occult or esoteric. But you all know, we all know that we do. Oh, I feel like I'm going to sneeze. We'll see if I can suffer through this. We all experience being taught just by being around dynamics. We're taught certain behaviors, ways of, kind of like almost like our moral compass that isn't maybe our own moral compass, but it's given to us like, here you go. This is our blueprint in which, how we see life and how we live life, from our family, from our maybe our religion, our part in society. And then we see other things like government. We see like media, advertising. I mean, our friends, people that we like, that we dislike. I mean, we receive all of this information from the time that we're very, very young on, I guess like what is right and wrong, what is how we should behave, how everyone else should behave, and how we're expected to fit into that. I mean, there's so much that we receive. And some of those frameworks or foundations are good, are helpful, help us survive, or maybe help us thrive, or you know uh, would actually be of benefit to us as a growing human. But then there are lots of other things that we inherit or that we are exposed to that are not for our best good, that are not for um they do not vibrate with the energy of this will help you expand and be strong and be living up to your full potential, whether that's practically speaking or energetically speaking. There are so many things that we have been given or that we learn, um, that keep us small, that keep us locked into that pattern and repeating it and passing that on to our future generations. It's like digging a really, really, it's just like a rut that gets deeper and deeper because it's just, the cart just keeps going, right? And it's not stepping outside of that and going on to greener pastures, right? So, um, and I'm saying this like not necessarily even with like a blaming or like pointing the finger type energy. So much of what our families, generations, groups of people in society, I'm not. I mean, at any point, people can realize like, wow, this isn't healthy, or this is not good for members of our group or whatever it is. But more than likely, they inherited that from a previous generation, from a previous generation. It's been passed down, right? And that's where I always kind of think of like a curse, like a family curse or a family karma, things like that, because it does get passed down. And it's not just people who are, DNA linked. It can be for sure, but it's used we see that societally speaking as well. But at any point, anyone can say, "Hey, this is not good. This isn't right. It's not healthy, whatever it is." And they can kind of uh raise some flags and like red flags and go, "Can we look at this?" But when you have a group of people and you have one person who's standing up, speaking out, whatever it is, and that's directly speaking against the group, that usually isn't received real well, you know? And it can be very dangerous. It can be very dangerous. It can be not fun to be um that person that is speaking up against the crowd, the group. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. I'm just saying it can be it can be lonely, it can be scary, it can be dangerous, you can feel ostracized and all of these things, right? But the cool thing is that as we collectively as humans we've pulled the wool off of our eyes and that we are realizing all of these patterns and systems and beliefs and history and things like that that are not good, that are not accurate, that are not true, all of this stuff. There's so much stuff that we're realizing. We've been lied to, we've been uh, corralled like cattle, all the things. Then the people who see it and who speak up against it, there are more and more people that are doing that. There are more and more people who are realizing, what the truth is, or that there's something better or a different way of doing things. And whereas you might feel in your own individual family or your own social group or political party or whatever it is, you may feel like you're the odd man out. Well, there are many of us that that are being brave and that are saying things. And so you find those people. You connect with those people, and whether that's online or that's your local you have local people that you do actually have in person interaction with, which I think is very important. The internet is cool, but I think we do need human to human interaction still. We're humans. um but we can see each other and support each other. And the crazy thing is too is that we don't even have to like agree about what the new paradigm is. We don't have to agree on what new energies or we're stepping into, or what the best highest good is for everyone. We're living our truth, but we can say, I see you speaking your truth, and I'm proud of you, and I commend you, and that you are brave, and you're being so strong, and you're being perhaps so humble and so graceful about it too, right? You don't have to be a dick, you don't have to be a jerk to speak your truth at all. It's much better received in a different way. um but certain situations call for that. To just uplift and support the way showers, the people who are speaking up and speaking out, that goes a long way. It really, really does. And I am very much so. Sometimes, that we can agree to disagree, that we can have that common respect, difference of beliefs or ideologies or whatever. But someone's strength of character and their moral compass, if you're really paying attention to that and also in tune with your own, when someone is coming from a genuine place. And a lot of times, even though you may be in one way looking like you're kind of opposing or like disagreeing on certain issues, when you kind of like translate it or transpose it down, so many times you're actually speaking of the same thing. It could be autonomy, it could be individual freedoms, it could be love, it could be connection to the divine, but we all have different versions of what that is, right? But I see that a lot even with like different religious paths. And some, religious paths are just like, live and let live, and this is what I believe, but everybody else, just do whatever. But then there are some other, religious groups who are very much, this is the only way, and everybody else is wrong. And there could be some very ugly consequences, to being on the wrong side of that, in their opinion. But even those kinds of groups, or just as an example, like I said, lots of different religions. So many times when you look at it at the core, they're talking about the same thing. There are universal truths. And I think that that's what we kind of need to be focusing on more, instead of all of these nuances that really can vary from individual to individual. I mean, these are just my feelings and opinions. I'm not saying I'm right, but I'm saying maybe what's right for me. And that's important. So anyway, um, I myself am very much looking forward to this breath of fresh air with the Aquarius energy coming in. I know that there are going to be a lot of shifts and changes. I've personally been feeling that for a long time, for like I mean at least a decade if not longer, feeling like there was revolution and change, something really big coming. And it feels like it's a lot closer than it was, 10, 15 years ago. But um when we do go through change and shifts, especially foundationally speaking, there are always bumps in the road that look like everything is falling apart. It's like, I think I said this too, but it's the tower card in tarot. The tower is falling down, it's on fire, people are falling from it. It's like, but it has to fall so it can be rebuilt in a new and progressed way. And it is heralding a new beginning for sure. And so, um, whatever degree of preparedness you feel called to, uh, set yourself up for and for your family, like do it. There's no time like now to do it. I mean, even just having this snowstorm, um, here, um, I've been seeing posts on Facebook, social media, where some people who have very capable vehicles have been offering to, like, run to the grocery store for people or help pull out vehicles and all this kind of stuff. And it's nice to see that camaraderie and that helpful spirit and everything come out. But I've also seen, like, in neighborhood groups and stuff, people posting how they didn't have any food, how they haven't eaten in a day. Um, maybe they're out of firewood, or they don't have any more baby food, or, all these things. And I understand that part of that could be that those people do not earn enough money to buy more than they can use within a couple of days. They're living not only paycheck to paycheck, but like day by day. And so I'm not like speaking ill of those people. But I also know that there are just some people who just, I don't know if they weren't checking the news, if they thought, oh, it's not going to really snow, like, or they're so used to just ordering DoorDash or Instacart or just running to Walmart if they need to, that if they have almost a foot of snow and ice on their road, then they're not going anywhere unless they're walking. And I've just been kind of confused, like, why the people who could, why people didn't actually prepare just a little bit for, like, us, just like snow, where you just might need to be at home for a couple days. And so, um, convenience and technology and all of those things, I mean, are wonderful, like advancements in improvements on all the things is really cool. But always remember that we still need food, we need shelter, we need warmth, right? Like, we need basic things as humans. And if the technology temporarily went away, or the roadways weren't accessible, or we have a weather event, or there are scary people outside and the grocery stores aren't open, or like whatever it is, you know, like, have some food on hand, have some way to purify your water, some, water on hand, have extra blankets in case your power goes out. And if you don't have a fireplace or wood stove or whatever, like, you know, we still have to survive as humans. And we get really, really used to just, I'll just run down the store, I'll just order groceries, or I'll just, like, turn the heat up a little bit more, like whatever it is. And like, that's great to have those things, but you do want a backup plan as well. Or when there are those bumps in the road and there are the shifts and the changes that at least temporarily make life a little harder, you're probably really going to be stressed out, right? So, yes, it is good to have emergency supplies of just your basics that you would need. It could be medications, it could be first aid stuff, it could be, pain reliever, like fever reducer, it could be, all kinds of things. And you don't have to have like 500 years worth of this stuff unless you're planning on like giving it away or selling it, in an apocalypse. But have what you need and a little bit more so that you don't have to leave your house, or if you can't leave your house, you've got what you need, and that's just basic humaning. That's just basic humaning. It is um it's knowing how to take care of ourselves, how to clothe ourselves, how to feed ourselves, how to also help those who can't, maybe those who are less fortunate, and maybe having a little bit that we can share too, right? Making sure that our needs are met, but then, taking care of others too. And That whole stress thing, time of disruption in the regularly scheduled program is definitely going to be stressful. But if we know that we have our basic needs met, that is going to help so much for sure. So, I think that I'm going to kind of leave it there. This has been a little bit of the Meleah soapbox energy update. But I know that what I am experiencing in my own personal life, I know that is, I'm feeling the cosmic energies just like we all are. And I know in different ways, as individuals, we are clearing old patterns out of our lives. And it is onward and upward. And it is for the higher vibrational versions of our life that is here for us to experience. And, times like this when we're snowed in and we're at home and we have more downtime for introspection and reflection and all of that, also gives us the space and the almost like the rest that we needed to be able to, I'm about to sneeze, whew, that we needed to process all of this stuff that is maybe rising up into our awareness, stuff that we're clearing, letting go of, that if we were so busy and so distracted that it's still in our energy field, but maybe it doesn't. It's like the download's here, but then the upload, the update needs to actually take place. So times like this are good for that integration as well. So thank you to those of you that have hung out with me tonight on this week's energy update. Thank you for your comments. And we will do this again next Wednesday at 7:00. And of course, you can check out the videos tab on my channel for previous energy updates, different talks about moons, different astrological stuff. I do intuitive card pulls as well. So, yeah, kind of scroll through there and see what else is going on. And if there's anybody else that you think would enjoy this, that would enjoy some of the other videos on my channel, I'm definitely trying to grow the list of subscribers and engagement and all of that. So definitely feel free to share so other people can join the page and get this message and this community connection all out together. So I hope you all stay warm, hope you stay healthy, and I will see you next week at 7. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.